in Vermland Radio Land, or let's just talk major technical difficulties. Verm couldn't be here tonight, so I am trying to run the show from a totally new computer, and I am lost. So hopefully we can get this going. Hopefully Truck Sam has bought some news articles we can discuss, because I've been running with my head cut off. So is he there today, or did he cut out again?
I'm
there,
here.
Truck
Can
Sam?
you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Do you got any news articles? So what's your news articles today? Yes, I can hear you. What?
I heard about they're busting all these people that are vandalizing Teslas, and they're cracking down on them. That's just...
Yes, I've noticed that the Democratic Party is putting their symbol on every Tesla that they find. They're using the swastika again. So good job, guys. I mean, I can't understand this. A guy who comes, I understand you guys don't like Elon for some reason, but the majority of people that drive that car are hardworking Americans that bought a Tesla because they wanted to save the planet. They're probably on the left, I'm going to say, especially if it's like a Model 3 or something like that. Hey, who knows? But the majority of people I know, but a lot of the people I know that drive Teslas are a little more left-leaning, right? So, yeah, you're bucking up again. You're just going in and out terrible fears. So we'll see if you come back. But so they're more left-leaning. So why attack? I mean, you hate the guy. I get it. But why attack the guy? Why attack the vehicles of people who are just working hard, just trying to get to and from work? And then you're burning down the dealerships. Well, that's somebody's job you just destroyed. It's not that you burn the dealership and you hurt him financially. That's one thing. It's not that you caught him in a stock glitch and you made him poorer for a day or two. You literally are stripping jobs away from people. You're literally stripping jobs away from people because you want to be mad and go protest the dealership. You burnt, and these people are getting terrorism charges. It's no joke now. You're in a bad spot. I can already tell.
That's true. They are. It's true. It's something where they're getting charged with domestic terrorism. And
they caught the guys that burned the dealership, I guess, in Las Vegas.
Yeah, they did.
Yep. Well, I guess we'll see what continues to go on.
That's the bad thing about it.
You're cutting in and out bad. You got to find a spot to pull over, or get out of those mountains wherever you're at.
I mean,
what kind of territory are you driving in right now?
Like a valley. I don't know.
Okay.
So I'm going up and down But I remember watching this one show where this lady, she was a leftist, and she said that pretty much property damage is okay to do. I'm like, what? No, it isn't.
Well, if property damage is okay to do, then why are you crying when they burn down your church?
Yeah. Or damage.
Is it okay? It's okay for them to do, but not to receive.
That's my question.
Because that's a dangerous precedent. That's a dangerous precedent. If you're going to say, "Hey, it's okay that I can destroy your car just because it's a certain brand," or I can burn down your dealership, your place of business because it's a certain brand, and it's okay because it's property damage. Nobody died. What's to stop me from coming in? What's to stop me from coming into your tattoo parlor and firebombing it? What's to stop me from, coming into your daycare and firebombing it? What's the, it's a whole list of things you could go firebomb, that belong to other people on the other side, and it would absolutely devastate them. Yes, in no way does it make it right. Don't think I'm saying let's go do that. I'm not. But I'm trying to put it in the same light as like, hey, I'll come to your business, firebomb it. And that way you're out of a job. Your boss calls you the next day and goes, hey, we got firebombed last night. Just stay home. Don't worry, you're not getting paid for the next 3 months, 6 months until we get all the damage repaired. You're going to have to go on unemployment. And I don't know if it's job attached or not. We'll get back to you.
Well, and everything is because if one person does it, next person does it, it just escalates and escalates, and it turns into a life and death situation. It's like if you can't talk and be, say, hey, this is what I have a problem with this and this and this. If you can't do that, then you should not, in my opinion, should not have no responsibility at all. You should go somewhere else because we don't want you in the U.S. It's like there's a time and place to defend yourself and to defend others, but not, go firebomb something or burn down or mess up a Tesla or, property damage is nonsense about that. It's wrong. And all it does is just escalates everything else too. And eventually you'll end up like what you call the Middle East, with all the violence they do.
I don't think we'll go that far. I'm hoping we won't go that far. I'm hoping common sense will prevail.
Some of these people are doing it. It just seems like it gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, come on. Can you sit down and talk? Can you, discuss this like a reasonable person? Some of these, I don't think you can. And that scares me. It's like them people should not have no access to weapons, cars, or anything dangerous because you don't know what they would do.
You don't have the authority. The government doesn't have the authority.
True.
To remove weapons or firearms from that group or vehicles just because of their political views. If we did that, I'm
talking their actions.
I don't care their actions either. As long as their actions are legal, then you have no right to strip them of anything.
Well,
no matter how scary they get. Well, when they firebomb something, they're breaking federal law. They're breaking state law. That's illegal.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. They, when they do something like that, they should not be able to handle a car, or because you don't know what else they're going to do. They're not in that right frame of mind. If they're going that
well, and that's why a lot of states have passed red flag laws, even though I think they're BS. I understand why they're there.
Some are good, some are bad.
I don't agree with the red flag law. If the guy's that much of a threat, then take him to court and have him adjudicated. You know what I'm saying?
What's that?
Put him in front of the judge, have a psychiatrist come in and go, yep, guy's a whack job. Take his guns away. Yep, Miss Pollyanni's going off the deep end. You need to lock her up for her before she does something to hurt herself.
I don't think we need to go that far, but I think it needs to go.
If you're doing red flag laws, you've already gone that far. If you're going into somebody's home with the sheriff or the local police and confiscating his firearms or hers. Could go either way. You've already gone that far. What's the problem of having the extra strength of just grabbing that guy and taking him down to court and having him talk to a shrink?
Well,
instead of clandestinely, secretly going behind his back and going, this dude's crazy.
Well,
I think he's crazy, and I think he's a threat. I think he's crazy, and he's a threat, and we need to remove his firearms. So what they do is that person takes that information, goes in front of the judge, says, yep, this guy's a Looney Tune, and before he can have justice in the court, he's already deemed guilty. They come in SWAT commando style. They take all his weapons or hers, and then you spend the next year trying to get that removed off your record.
Damn. I didn't know it would go that far.
So, no. Or it could take longer. So, and granted, there's wackadoodles out there. I get it. But if you're going to do that, maybe you should take the guy to court first and sit him aside in a room and let him talk to a shrink and let the shrink come back and talk to the judge and go, yep, that guy's three biscuits shy of a meal. You know.
But you're saying locking them up. And,
what do you think we used to do with crazy people, dude?
I understand what we used to do.
We should lock them up. If they're a danger to society, if they're enough of a danger to society that we have to remove their weapons. Okay, so you've taken all their guns and knives and all that stuff out of the home because they're a threat to themselves or other people, right?
Yeah.
What's to stop that guy from getting into his 1996 Dodge pickup truck, four-wheel drive, and driving it through the town fair?
That has happened.
So, you took away his guns. Yay, he's not shooting people, but now he's running them over with his truck. Congratulations. Or his Honda, whatever it may be. So, if he's that crazy where you have to take stuff away from him, in my eyes, he's that crazy to lock up.
I see your point on that, but there's different, where he might be going through a difficult time and he needs,
Yeah, he's going through a difficult time. Then he can go seek counseling. And after he's proved to the psychiatrist on a 72-hour hold that he's a good boy, then he can get released.
I'm talking like in long term, like, okay, if you got issues.
I am talking long term. You hold him for a 72-hour psychiatric hold, which anybody can go do. If you come and visit me, I can go, come with me, Samurai. Let's go down to the doctor. And I take you down to the doctor and go, 72-hour psychiatric hold. This dude's crazy and a loon toot. Think he's going to hurt himself. He's talking crazy. And you're going to get all mad and get defensive and get angry at me because I did it, which is just going to prove more to the doctor that you're a loon toot. And you're going to end up spending 72 days in a lockup, 72 hours in a lockup, proving to them that you're not a loon toot. Lobotomy. You damn right, Fabian. Let's go. Been seeing that beautiful work you're doing on your Jeep. It's looking gorgeous. So, I did do some work on my truck this week. Finally. I installed the battery. The main primary battery that powers all. It's a 12 cell 66160 lithium titanium oxide. And it has 480 amp hours, 3,000, read this with me, fellas, 3,480 cold cranking amps, baby. That's like having 5 car batteries hooked up. All in the same little itty-bitty package that a regular car battery takes up. Almost zombie ready, baby. Yes. So, I've been testing that all week. I got some zip ties. I got to move some wires around. So, just in case they don't touch off of a header or something. But I'm telling you what, my winch moves a heck of a lot faster than it used to. It's got all the power it needs now. It's amazing.
You're not going to melt the wires on it,
no,
are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
So it's holding at 13.9 or 13.8 volts because that's where the alternator stops charging. And so the voltage regulator's in the alternator. Once it senses it's full, it stops producing voltage, shunts it off, right? So it can't overcharge the battery, and it'll just go. But the nice thing about lithium titanium oxide cells is versus an AGM or lead acid that has 1,000 cycles, or a LiPo battery that has about 3 to 5,000 cycles. The cells I selected have a 25,000 to 30,000 cycle life, which I know that doesn't sound like much, but if 1,000 cycles in a regular car battery will last me about 4 years, hopefully this is the one car battery I buy for that vehicle that I never have to change. And if it works out like I'm supposed to, I'll never have to change the battery in my truck. Ever. I don't have to check the liquid levels. I don't have to it just works. I go out there, it starts strong every day. It's got all the voltage it needs to kick the starter. I mean, that's almost enough to start. I guarantee it's enough to start your semi.
I can believe that.
So I need to talk to some semi people. If I can make one that'll start a semi and run a semi that cuts all that battery weight, better fuel mileage.
Yeah, because we do have 4 batteries in this truck. It depends unless you got the
big batteries, huge batteries.
Then
your batteries are big. What are they? Remember what they are?
No, but they're like about 1.5 times longer than a car battery.
So I want to figure out how much semi-truck batteries have. So here we go. About 1,100 cranking amps. And you got 3 of those in your truck?
4.
4?
Yep.
If I had a few more cells, I could be up there and you would have the CCA you need to supposedly crank your truck over.
Now, just out of curiosity, the only thing is, I know when they had to replace my batteries on the road, just to replace 3 of them, it costs about $1,000.
I could probably build that whole battery for less than $1,000. Even if it cost the company $1,000 to buy that battery, and then $500 to get it installed, right? In the long run, that battery is going to outlast the truck. When you go to trade that truck in, you're going to be like, nope, you get everything except the battery. I'm taking the battery because I'm going to put that in my new truck.
Yeah, because most companies usually only keep trucks for about 3 to 5 years, roughly, because they want to keep the warranty and pretty much trade them in after that. You'd have to probably go for the owner-operators market for that. Because the owner-operator, he's going to keep the truck for probably over a couple million miles. Like my truck right now has 373,000 and it's a little over 3 years old. Or no, actually no, 3 years old.
So we got potentially high threats of tornadoes and storms in the central U.S. coming.
Oh,
that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Everybody stay safe.
I had fun last night. I got stuck on Sherman on I-80 in between Laramie and Cheyenne for 4 hours.
So Cory Booker Democrat for New Jersey, was able to speak for more than 25 hours against President Trump on his unconstitutional actions, which amazes me that he's able to speak that long on the unconstitutional actions of Trump when he couldn't speak up about any of the unconstitutional actions from all the other presidents that he served under. So, not naming names. But 25 hours and 5 minutes, that's impressive. That means he's full of a lot of bullshit.
Hey, did you hear about that, I think it's autograph machine that they use and all that? They're talking about the last minute pardons that Biden did might not be constitutional.
They have brought that up, and they also have brought up, and they've also brought up the fact that his one for Hunter Biden is not a true pardon either, because Hunter Biden hasn't been convicted of a crime. None of these people he gave pardons to were convicted of a crime.
Mm-hmm. And it makes you kind of wonder.
So if he gave all these people pardons for crimes that they did or did not commit, does he hold the new record then? I do not know if that guy holds the new record for blabbing his mouth for that long. I didn't see anything in there, but he did not use the restroom.
I think last one they said it was, God, whew. His bladder must have been million.
Oh, so the longest one was, I guess he did break a record. Senator Storm Thurmond, who filibustered for 24 hours and 18 minutes to oppose the Civil Rights Act. So, yes, he did break a record. But
the only thing is, why can't they do something positive with all this energy they have instead of going against the American people and the people that voted for President Trump and everything else? Why do they always have to go? Because they're losing their power and they don't like it.
They are losing their power, and I really, they need to lose their power. These politicians have become too strong. They don't even listen to their people anymore. Just like, so here in Colorado, they passed Senate Bill 25003. It's now sitting in the governor's desk waiting for the governor to either veto or sit quietly for the next 10 days or whatever. They just passed a new 6.5% excise tax on all firearms related products, ammunition, holsters, sights, screws, anything that's related to a gun got a 6.5% excise tax put on it. And as soon as that went active today, they got sued. So they're in a lawsuit with like 5 or 6 of the gun organizations, some civil rights organizations, and a bunch of big stores glommed onto it to say, hey, you're affecting my business. And if they get this knocked out and get this shot down, and there is precedence for this stuff. There's Supreme Court law that basically says that what the state did here is illegal. But they passed it anyways to see if they could get away with it. And the senators and congressmen that vote this stuff in, if it gets overturned in the courts, none of it ever physically or mentally hurts these guys, because they're like exempt. I don't think they're exempt, but they just don't care because it's state money that's going to take care of it.
They're above the law when they're in that power. They have like cops. They don't need to worry about getting sued, and it takes forever to even try to do anything about it to go after these people that did wrong. And it's like they're,
you're breaking up again. You have.
It's like,
you know what? I really do think it's where you log in from.
I always say 2 terms. That should be enough.
2 terms for a politician is what you're trying to say? Because nobody can understand you. You're breaking up so bad. So it's like every 5th word, dude. You should. What kind of bars do you have?
They're right like now? Senate and Congress. 52 bars. It's kind of fluctuating right now.
Samurai. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to wait till you have at least 2. So, yeah, because it's just when you're on one bar, it's like every 5th word that's coming out.
But what I was saying is like, good.
So Trump is coming up with Liberation Day tariff, and now I guess he's doing something new with tariffs. He announced a 10% baseline tariff for all U.S. trading partners to go into effect on April 5th, with more reciprocal tariffs against the worst offenders on April 9th. So he's got like Laos is going to get 48%, Madagascar 47%, Vietnam 46%. There's a whole list that's just going to get. The UK is going to get 10%, Brazil 10%, Singapore 10%, Chile, Austria, Turkey, Colombia, Peru, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, UAE, New Zealand, Argentina, Ecuador, Guatemala, Honduras, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, El Salvador, Trinidad, Tobago, and Morocco are all going to be in that 10% thing. Everybody else is going to be 17% or higher, basically, have reciprocal tariffs for imported goods into the United States. So we will see what happens to, hopefully this appeases. Well, I mean, Canada's in there too, Canada and Mexico. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But they're saying, there was one of the guys was saying that they don't think President Trump's bill is going to go forward. The GOP braces for a potential tariff, the defeat on the tariff bill. So they may not get their tariff bill through. So we'll see. We will see. You're back?
I'm back.
You finally rose up over that hill?
Yeah. Well, it's something where the tariff is something where when it comes to that.
You know what you need to get?
What?
You need to get a cell phone signal booster on your truck. And I will send you the information for the best one out there. I'm going to send you the information for the best one out there. Yeah, it's exactly right there, Fabian. It's a good time to stop flipping the bill.
Yep.
It's a good time we stop flipping the bill. Buy more guns, save more ammo, make it in America, by God. I understand 230-something life-saving medications are made outside the United States. How is that national security? That stuff should be made right here in America. Electricity for 3 or 4 of our northern states is produced in another country.
Mm-hmm.
Where's national security on that one? Manufacturing and military hardware and equipment. It's not done in America. It's done overseas in different countries. Where's the national security in that?
And all they have to do is, if they don't like us, they can say, well, we're not going to do more manufacturing for you, and now you're in a bind.
Just for an example, even though it got cleared up, Canada's like, we're going to shut the power off. And we're going to charge you 25% on your electrical things because of the tariff thing, which I understand why they were doing it. I totally get it. But when they threaten to shut off our electricity, that tells me we need to come up with a plan fast and quick to build our own power plants on this side of the border, and one day be able to go, we don't need your electricity, and shut them off. But we've been buying electricity since the 1800s from them, for those states.
Yep. What it comes all down to is all the activists that say, "Oh, you ruined our environment." Like, no, we're not. You know, we can build power safer, and I think we should go to nuclear. They've gone a long way since we first built them, and they produce a lot of power.
Yeah, you can't. You're not. By the time you get a nuclear power plant online,
yep,
it's going to take you 20 years just to get through planning.
Yep, that's the pathetic part about it.
20 years just to get through planning, and then there's the whole building phase and all that, and EPA studies of where you're going to build it, and 30, 40 years, you finally got an approval for a design that's 50 years old.
Yep.
It's already 50 years behind schedule.
Yeah, and that's one thing we need to cut out is the red tape. And with what Doge is doing, it's smart, because he actually, I watched the
what did Doge uncover here not too long ago? They found something pretty big.
9-month-year-old to get a $300,000 loan.
Oh, is that one of the things they found?
Yep. It was 9-month-year-old, and they said pretty much what happened was that these computer systems were not communicating with each other. So, they said, "Oh, you got a social security number, so it's legit." So they gave him the loan. In turn, they had, if the computer in between the different departments, they'd say, "Oh, he's 9-month-year-old. Why would he need a $300,000 loan?" And that's one thing they're trying to fix is,
if he's 9 months old, some adult did that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there was no communication from the small business part of the federal government that deals out these loans and the Social Security. Now, if these computer systems were talking, saying, whoa, he's 9 months old. Why is he getting $300,000, put in for a $300,000 loan?
There is the Doge website, which I love. You want a good read, go check it. But they have page after page of receipts of stuff they've uncovered. And they're getting rid of. They are saving almost $3 billion on the offices of Refugee Resettlement Influx Care Facility, ICF, 3,000 unaccompanied children. Their family. What the heck? There's another one that they're almost saving $2 billion for Central Technologies, for interrogation services. It makes you kind of wonder what the heck is going on. Department of Health, another, $370 million. All these, and it's just paid. There's 700 and something pages plus of just contracts. Then they got a section that's just grants. They got a section that's just leases that they've cut.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I watched the interview that they had a couple days ago with the Doge team, and that was very interesting because they were all pretty much self-made people, CEOs people that started up their own businesses that actually went in and did this.
And they're not getting paid.
Yeah.
They're doing it. All their work they do on the Doge team is all voluntary, pretty much. I know Elon's not getting paid. I think a couple of the other guys aren't. They're just doing it for fun.
Yeah, because they're getting tired of the waste too. And one thing they said was sometimes these contracts are done, but they keep on getting invoices or they keep on sending the checks out to these companies and the contract's done. It's like, why are we
and the companies are cashing it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like everybody else out there, you send me free money, we're going to take it.
Yeah.
I did stumble across something that was kind of interesting years ago. I called a company for a part that they failed to ship me, a couple parts that they failed to ship me on an order, right? And they treated me just terrible. Like, we need photos of everything as it came in the box. We need photos of the invoice. Like, I was the criminal is how they were treating me. And I called them up and says, hey, look, I just need these 3 parts. If you could send them out, that'd be great. They didn't come in the order. We need proof. So I took everything out, laid it out on the table, took pictures, sent it back to them, hemmed and hawed back and forth with them for a few days. Okay, we're going to send you those parts in the order. Well, what they did is they resent me the whole order. And this was not a cheap order. This was thousands of dollars, right? So when they get on the phone and they're like, hey, we sent you a whole order. Could you be kind enough to take that down to the UPS and send it back once you've taken your parts out? Sure, no problem. Once you send me a picture of all the stuff that you packed in the box with an invoice. And they're like, and I says, are you going to pay me for my time to drag your stuff down to the UPS? I says, because that's my time. What I can do is after I get done boxing it up, I can put it on the front porch and you can dispatch UPS to my house to pick it up. Well, we're not going to do that. We can't do that. Well, you know, by federal law, anything extra you send through the mail that I didn't request or ask for or pay for is a gift. You need to look that one up. It gets pretty crazy. But so those people that send you stuff through the mail, like, hey, we gave you some free product, blah, 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 you owe us. No, you don't. If they sent you free product through the mail, it's free. If they sent you something you weren't supposed to get, it's free.
I thought they were trying to butter you up for wasting your time or something. But man,
no, I mean, and I still have some of the stuff because I said, yeah, if you send me the shipping slips, I'll get it back to you. Never got the return shipping slips from this company to send their product back. And I could tell the guy was frustrated on the other side. And I was like, look, I says, you're frustrated right now and you're angry. I says, think how the customer feels when you do the exact same thing to him when I call to tell you that there's a piece missing out of the box.
And what did he say off that on that?
He goes, well, I just have to do what my managers tell me. And I go, fine, get the manager on the phone. I'll tell him. Of course, you can never get the manager on the phone.
Oh, no.
So they must have just said, forget it. It's gone. It's a waste of time. So.
Well, getting back to that comment about 2 terms bit, you know,
2 terms is never going to happen, dude. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, because they have too much power.
And here's the thing kills me about these senators and congressmen that have been up there for 40 years.
Yeah.
Is they've been watching the corruption for 40 years. Could have fixed it 40 years ago. and have done nothing to help the people out. And that's in every country.
It is.
That's in every country.
It's like
what country had that political uprising? Was it Iceland or Greenland? That basically went in and said, "Hey, we're tired of all these corrupt people," and they just literally put all those guys in prison. I have to look it up, but one of these countries, wasn't too long ago, it was a couple years ago, went through and basically said, "All you dudes are corrupt. We're charging you all, and we're getting rid of you all." And they've basically voted them out. But the country was small enough that they could do that. You try to do that here, and people would have a meltdown.
Oh, they would. I'm sorry, but after 2 terms, who are they working for this? For their constituents, or are they working for themselves? I'm sorry, but you're up there.
That's easy. Every politician that's up there is working for himself.
Yeah, and
they may say they're working for the people, and those people are very far and few between. Yeah. But I find it hard to believe that politicians are working for the people when they go up there a broke bartender, and now how much is she worth?
A couple million now.
No, it's more than that.
And everything is turning into a nursing home up there.
Yeah, so in 2018, her estimated net worth was $8,499.
Damn.
And so now we'll see what it. Well, that's what this little site said. So AOC says she's worthless, less than $500,000 after she claims, after kickback claims, and seems to get kudos from Trump fans in response. So she said her congressional salary was her only income, but I know she's worth millions because of all her taxes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
not taxes.
Well, and the kickbacks that we don't know about
and stuff like that.
Well, that's another thing. It's like, all these things that she did for other people, and we don't know what she's going to get after she leaves, or
these people could be holding stuff in slush funds for her when she gets out. That.
Well, why do you think all these people have charities and they are the president and they get a nice salary off that too? I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're a charity and you're collecting a salary. Why don't you put that towards what your charity is supposed to be for?
I understand they want to make money. I get that. But I see how a lot of these campaign funds get used.
Oh, yeah. That's outrageous there.
And if these people have campaign funds left over, they're still paying themselves out of the campaign. They never close the campaign down. They just go to a minimal staff on the campaign, and they keep it going. So in 4 years or 6 years or whatever it is their next election cycle is, boom, they fire the campaign back up. All the accounts are there, and away they go.
Yeah, or they use it for their, they're not doing campaign. They had one where one wasn't even campaign again, and he was using it for like maintaining his lawn, made, and put it down. Oh,
there's nothing says you have to run again.
The only thing is that money should be, like I said, there should be a limit.
There's no law that once that money is donated to your campaign, until your campaign runs out of money, you can keep using that stuff to pay yourself a salary. That's part of the law.
That needs to be changed, that's for sure.
Well, there's a lot of things that need to be changed, but It's not going to happen because the people who make those laws are the people that are going to have to bring that law up. You're not going to go up to Congress and go, hey, I want to submit a bill. Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't have enough money to grease the wheels to get there. And in order to do some of this stuff, which is what I'm finding out about state law, state politics. Like, you know, so they passed this gun bill is 25003 that passed in the state or passed Congress and the Senate in the state of Colorado. It's now waiting for governor's approval, which I hope he vetoes. Was brought to us by Anytown Safety, Anytown Safety or something like that, which is a left-leaning Democrat think tank, you know, strip your constitutional rights away group that's out in D.C. Well, they paid over $1 million into some of the into one senator's campaign fund, or in media. I don't know if they paid it to him directly, but they bought him a lot of advertisement, and, you know, we support this guy for what he's going to do. You know, a lot of that, you know, stuff that way. But, and it's Sullivan was his name, and he was one of the sponsors for the bill, him and Gonzalez, right? And both those guys got large amounts of money from these gun collectives, these anti-gun collectives. And so, of course, you know, and then these anti-gun collectives came to Colorado and said, look, get your crap straight, better vote this through. We paid a lot of money to get this through. They were actually walking around on the floor talking to people in the halls like, hey, I see you're kind of fluttering. Better get your stuff straight. We paid a lot of money. And if you don't, we're going to primary you. Basically take you out of power, take you out of your position. And these lobbyists shouldn't have that power over the politicians.
No.
Because this bill like spits in the face of like most of the people in Colorado. Well,
it's like what they wanted about the veterans. I'm like, what the hell? Some of these veterans, that's their passion. You talk about, I'm sorry, but I'd go on a rant and rave about that. You know, some parts of that bill.
Oh, yeah, there was. So what they want to do now is you have to go to the instructor, pay the instructor, and pay CPW to get this class that's going to take 12 hours in order to get the rights to buy the guns that you want to buy and not have them blocked from your purchase. Once the state has your money and they go, yes, that guy is paid, then you can take your 12-hour class, which is going to be a couple days. And with the amount of people that need to take this class in order to keep purchasing firearms in this state, it could take up to 3 to 4 years before you get instructor and on the back end. And once you get your instructor, and the card's only good for 5 years. Once you get your instructor done, and we don't know how much that's going to cost. It could be a couple $100 to the state and a couple $100 to $500 to the instructor. So let's just say you're in $800. And then you have to take your test, which you have to score a 90% or better on. And once you take your test, then you take all that documentation down to the sheriff and apply for your background check / I want to be part of the cool kid club and get my Colorado firearms owner card. And that, some of the sheriffs have been saying that could cost up to $1,000 per person to get that investigation, because they have to do an investigation on you. And it could cost up to $1,000 to get that done. So now you're in it for almost $2,000 just to get the right to be able to purchase firearms that you already have the right to purchase through the Second Amendment. So, and there's a lot of things they put in this bill that have already been deemed illegal by the Supreme Court, but the state of Colorado doesn't care. So they just want to keep violating our civil rights. And they are going to get a rude awakening when this passes in August of 2026, because they're going to get slapped with so many lawsuits. It's going to make their head spin. And it's not going to be just, simple violation lawsuits. Some of the stuff we're going after is 18 UST. I think it's 260s, 240 area, where the maximum sentence is death for violating somebody's civil rights. It'll never happen. They'll never get it. But that's the maximum sentence you can impose on them if you're the judge. So every one of these congressmen, senators, and if the governor signs it, that signed it, should get sued personally. And the state should get sued. And these politicians need to be made to pay for violating our rights and making our life hard.
I remember watching a show today, talking about different generations, and they said that when we went through the Great Depression and when the president did the great deal, get the country back on track with the, back to work and all that. That after that the next generation came up, they saying that generation said, the government should take control of our lives. And every time that we went through a hardship and the government, tried to bail us out, it got worse and worse. And we're now to that point where everybody thinks the government should be taking over our lives. Like, no. Government should not be doing that. They're only here to make federal laws, protect us, and represent us to the world. That's it. Not be running our lives down to the minute detail. I'll send you that video. I think you'll probably find it very interesting.
Well, I noticed that they're trying to set a debt limit on the budget now. They're trying they're trying to lower the budget by 1.5 trillion. Because we're spending about 7 trillion a year when we're only making 5 trillion, and we're 36 trillion in the hole. So we probably need to cut it by 3 trillion. So that way we got a little extra money coming in so we can pay all these people off. Except China. China should get screwed.
Well,
in fact, any country that has not repaid their debt from World War II, we should automatically just nix it out against our debt and call it good.
There actually is a way to do that legally too, because when Taiwan was in that government was in control of China, and they were going through civil war. They got these bonds that were gold guaranteed bonds. Like it doesn't matter if our country changes government, we'll pay you this. And when when the CCP took over, they never paid back the American people that bought these bonds.
And that was so like 300, I can't remember if it was billion or million. But I know the interest on that today is well over $1 trillion.
Yeah, and they could literally buy them bonds from the people and say, well, technically, we bought your bonds. We don't owe you nothing. And there's actually laws that, back that up.
It'd be like doing a till tap, except we're going to do what a till tap is?
No.
It's where, so if somebody sues you, for instance, they sue a business, right? Okay. And which actually happened to Bank of America. I believe it was Bank of America or Wells Fargo. I think it was Wells Fargo. But there was a couple that the bank foreclosed on their house, even though they owned the property outright.
I heard of that.
And they tried lawyers, everything. Hey, look, you can't foreclose on this property. We bought it with cash. It's ours. We own it. It's done. It's a done deal. And the bank kept pushing and pushing and pushing and tried to sue and sue and sue. And the couple said, hey, we've had it. They countersued the bank for all the lawyers' fees and everything and won. But the bank wouldn't pay them. So they paid the lawyer to get the sheriff, and they went down to the bank location that was closest to them and tapped the bank. Started to go in there, and they were going to remove all the furniture, computers, office equipment, everything, unless they paid. Which is probably the fastest a bank has ever paid somebody in their life. But they ended up paying the people, and now it's all resolved. But why can't we do that with these other countries that owe us money to pay off our national debt? Like, look, you owe us $47 trillion. We want our cash. Oh, you can't give us cash? Then we want your minerals. We want your oil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you look back to history,
just a thought. Because how long until China goes, hey, you guys owe us $2 trillion a year in interest payments, and we own all the cards on your debt. You can't make the payment, so we're going to take California.
I can see them pulling that stunt.
I mean, how long until that happens?
True.
Because we're $36 trillion in the hole. You can't run a household like this. You can't run your own home like this.
No, you can't. If
you're making $5 a year, you can't spend $7. Because every year you're going to go another $2 in the hole, and you got no way to pay it off, no way to pay the interest on it, nothing. And eventually your debt payment becomes an interest only payment. You're never paying the principal.
Yeah,
that's why Doge. That's why all these things are going on. That's why all these programs are getting cut. We can't fund the world anymore.
No, we can't.
We gotta pull back. We got to pull back and save some money. Because every year, it used to happen. It used to happen in the military every year, and I'm sure every federal agency is the same way. Every one of them is probably the same thing: spend it or lose it mentality. Because if you don't spend that money, they will cut your budget by that next year. So if you have $250,000 left over at the end of the year for range ammo, by God, you better buy $250,000 worth of range ammo and go shoot it. Because if you don't, you won't get that ammo money next year. They'll cut it. And there would be big ranges at the end of the year where literally just have truckloads full of ammo, and you had to go shoot. You were ordered to go shoot it. Now, you did get some training value out of it, don't get me wrong. But instead of just doing training with ammo and like, hey, look, we saved $250,000 this year. Let's give them the same budget or cut it by a little, and if they can do the same amount of training and still be on top of it with spending less money, bonus, dude, right?
Yeah.
But that's never going to happen. Never going to happen. But we need to talk about Ruthless Rusters while we're here. So go out to www.ruthlessrusters.com, enter in the promo code VernsFans-RR10 for your 10% discount. They really do a lot with the John Cannon Show and and helping out Vermland Radio and Let's Talk. So we just want to give a special thanks to ruthlessrusters.com. Go check out their website. Now, also another thing you need to do is check out vermlandradio.com. If you go to vermlandradio.com, you will see a store there on one of the pages. You can buy the swag, get a coffee cup, get a sweatshirt, get a shirt. And once you have that, Thank you very much. But none of that money actually goes to physically us. It goes to physically pay for the radio station and all that stuff every year, all our internet programs like Restream and stuff like that. So we really like to appreciate that. And thanks for coming out today. But we are done for the day. This is the end of our show. And we would like to thank you for being here on episode 37. And Truck Sam, drive safe. And everybody else, have a beautiful day.
Talk to you next week.